Hey, welcome back. So in the previous lesson, I wrote this index.php file, and currently our page doesn't show anything because we gotta create a content file for the post formats. So let's go ahead and create that. A new file called content.php. As usual, start with a PHP tag, content.php, and then add a small description. This file will be responsible for outputting a post, a single post. And I was speaking about an HTML structure in the previous lesson. Well, for this, I'm going to start with an article. So every post will be wrapped in an article tag. Then on each post, on each article, we're going to add the ID of post dash, and then I'm going to do a PHP tag. And inside, I'm going to put the ID. And then right before the tag ends, I'm going to say PHP post class. Okay, so this is the article. And let's see if that works. Okay, if we inspect our element here, we can see that we have an article with an ID of post4 and with all of these classes. So you can see right away that it's really easy. Just by adding a few functions, it's really easy to create the markup you need. So in this instance, the ID refers to the post we're currently loading in this while statement, right? So by executing the post, we're loading a bunch of stuff about that post, which can be accessed with this function and with this function right here. So every post is going to have something like a header and then a content. So let's say article header, and I'm going to start with a header class entry header. And in the header, we got to put stuff like an image and a title, and also the post meta, which is all the information about the author, the date, the number of comments, and so on. So first of all, the thumbnail. I'm just going to start a PHP tag here because I need some comments. So I'm going to say if the post has a thumbnail and it's not password protected, then we're going to display the thumbnail. And in function language, that goes something like this: if has post thumbnail and not post password required. So if it doesn't have a password, then we're going to close the PHP here because we're going to write some HTML. We're just going to say figure with the class of entry thumbnail. And inside, we're going to do PHP the post thumbnail. And then we're going to do an end if to close the if that we opened right here. So again, if we have a thumbnail and it's not password protected, then I'm going to output a figure tag with this class, and inside I'm going to display the post thumbnail, which will render an img tag with the correct source. Okay, that's it for the thumbnail. Next up, let's see about the title. So I'm just going to delete this ending tag here so I can use comments. So if it's a single page, then we display the title. Else, we display the title in a link. So it goes like this: if is single, so if we're referring to a single post, then we're going to output an h1, which is going to say PHP the title. And then PHP else, so if it's not single, we're going to do an h1 with an anchor tag inside it. And the anchor tag href will go to the permalink for that post, so the permalink. And then I'm going to do a rel bookmark, again to help with accessibility. And inside the link, I'm just going to say PHP the title. And in here, I'm going to say PHP and if. Okay, so let's see what we got so far. Let's refresh. And there it is, testing and hello world. And as you can see, these are the posts that we have right now. So let's go over this one more time. If it's a single post, which will happen if I access testing, for example, you can see that we just have an h1, yeah, h1 with the title. Else, if it's not single, if it's displayed like this, we get an h1 which contains an anchor tag. Yeah, so I have a link basically. The final thing we gotta do in the header is display the post meta, which is the author, comments, information, and so on. So I'm gonna do a paragraph with a class of entry meta, and inside this paragraph I'm gonna do PHP. I'm gonna start with a comment. It says display the meta information, and I'm gonna call a function called alpha post meta, and then I'm gonna close the header and entry header. Now if we refresh, we get an error because we don't have this alpha post meta function anywhere, but we can go ahead and write it now. So open up functions PHP. We're gonna register our function number 5 here. We're gonna say display meta information for a specific post. And following the logic that we used here, we gotta test if the function exists first. So if not function exists, alpha post meta, then we're gonna define it function alpha post meta, yeah, and inside we're gonna start with an UL. Basically, all the information that you can put in this meta, you can put in a list. So I'm going to start with echo UL with a class of list inline. This is another class that's being used by Bootstrap. And then entry meta. Okay. And then we do a check. If the post type is post, so this is different from a page, right? So if get post type equals post, then we're going to start with the sticky posts. So if the post is sticky, then we're going to mark it. So if is sticky, a sticky post, if you're unfamiliar, is the kind of post that stays on top of the other posts, even if it's not the most recent. So if it's sticky, then we're going to echo. Let's see. We're going to start with a list item because we are inside an unordered list. We're going to add the class of meta featured post, close the list item, and inside we're going to add an icon like a pin icon, and that will be represented by an eye with a class of FA and FA thumb tag, and close the eye right here. Now this is how you include font awesome icons, and I'm gonna do that at the very end, but this is the markup that you gotta use. And then after we add this icon, we gotta add the word sticky to it. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna print out sticky and then alpha. So again, as you can see, we are marking this string for translation, and by using these dots we're making sure that we connect this string right here with this PHP. And let's add a semicolon there, save, let's refresh. Okay, and let's, just for the kicks of it, let's make this testing post a sticky one. You need to go to visibility, edit, and then hit on stick this post to the front page and hit update. So now refresh, and the testing post is now sticky. Now the rest of the functions will be written in the next lesson. We still gotta write the author, the date, the categories, the tags, and the comments. So thanks for watching so far. See you in the next lesson.